businesswoman recognizes her long-lost son sweeping streets, and what she does is shocking. Jennifer Collins felt her heart race as she gazed out the window of her 20th floor office. 8 years had passed since she made the most difficult decision of her life, but those brown eyes and dark curls were unmistakable. It was when she saw the boy carefully sweeping the sidewalk in front of the office building that her life changed forever. Her fingers trembled as she recognized every feature of the face that haunted her dreams. It was Ethan, the son she had given up for adoption when he was just 3 years old. "Dr. William, I need to cancel all my meetings today," she told her assistant, unable to tear her eyes from the window. "But Ms. Collins, we have the quarterly results presentation in 2 hours. The investors are already on their way," the man replied, concerned by his boss's sudden pallor. "Cancel everything. It's urgent." Jennifer grabbed her purse and rushed toward the elevator, her hands cold and clammy. As she descended, memories flooded back like a sped-up film. She had been only 19 when she got pregnant, alone, with no family, and working as an overnight janitor in offices to pay for her business degree. She couldn't raise a child. When she reached the ground floor, she slipped out the side door of the building. The boy was still there, focused on his task. He wore a faded grey t-shirt and worn jeans, but he was clean and well kept. His sneakers were old, but neatly tied. "Excuse me." She approached slowly, her voice nearly breaking. The boy looked up, and for a moment, Jennifer felt as if the world had stopped. It was him, without a doubt. "Hi, ma'am. Sorry if I'm in the way. I'm almost done," said Ethan, returning to his sweeping. "No, you're not in the way at all. What's your name?" "Ethan. Ethan Miller." The last name was different, confirming he had been adopted. Jennifer swallowed the lump in her throat. "How old are you, Ethan?" 11, Mom. I'll be 12 in December." The math was perfect. He had been 3 when she gave him up. Now he was 11. "Do you work here every day?" "It's not really a job, Mom. I help Mr. Frank, the doorman from the building next door. He gives me a little money for school supplies. My mom doesn't like it much, but I insist. I want to help at home." Jennifer studied the boy more closely. Despite his simple clothes, he had good posture, spoke well, and showed manners. Someone had raised him with love and values. "Your mum, what does she do?" "She sews at home, makes clothes to order. My dad worked at a factory for a long time, but it closed last year. Now he does odd jobs as a handyman when work comes up." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps those of us just starting out. Now continuing, Jennifer's heart ached. The family that had adopted her son was struggling, yet Ethan spoke fondly of his adoptive parents. "Do you like school, Ethan?" "I love it. I go to a public school nearby. My teacher, Mrs. Thompson, says I have the potential to go to college someday. Just like you, ma'am." "Just like me?" "Yeah, the doorman told me you're a businesswoman, that you have a big company here in this building. I want to be a businessman too when I grow up, so I can help my family and other people in need." Jennifer had to lean against the wall to keep from crumbling. That boy, her son, dreamed of the same future she had achieved, and he was there, sweeping streets to help his family, with the same determination she'd had in her youth. "I have to go now, ma'am. Thanks for talking," Ethan said, putting the broom away in a corner. "You seem sad. I hope you feel better soon." "Ethan, wait," she called out, but the boy was already crossing the street, waving with a smile. Jennifer stood there for a few minutes trying to process what had just happened. Her son was doing well, polite, smart, and kind. But the family raising him was struggling financially. In the days that followed, she began discreetly observing Ethan's routine. She discovered he swept the sidewalk every afternoon after school, always punctual, always careful. Sometimes he brought books and read while waiting for the foot traffic to die down. "Dr. William, I need you to do some discreet research for me," she said one Thursday morning. "Of course, Ms. Collins. What's this about?" "I want information about the Miller family, Robert Miller and Emily Miller. They live in this neighborhood. I'm interested in a business partnership." William found it odd but didn't question her. Within a few days, he brought her a full report. Robert Miller, 42 years old, worked for 15 years at the Progress Textile Factory until it closed. Emily Miller, 38, a freelance seamstress. They have 5 children, 4 biological and 1 adopted. They live in a rented house at 347 Maple Street. Their finances are tight, but there are no records of debt or legal issues. 5 children? Jennifer was surprised. Yes, the girls Olivia and Sophia, 16 and 14, the twins Jacob and Nathan, 9 years old, and Ethan, 11, who was adopted 8 years ago. Jennifer closed her eyes. Her son had 4 siblings. He was part of a large, close-knit family. That only complicated her feelings further. That afternoon, she decided to discreetly follow Ethan after he finished sweeping. The boy walked down narrow streets until he reached a small but well-kept house with a simple garden out front. "Ethan, you're home," a girl of about 9 shouted, running to hug him. "Hi, Sophia. How was school today?" "Good." The teacher praised my essay. "What about you? Did you get the change for the new notebook?" "I did. Come on, let's see if Mom needs help with dinner." Jennifer hid behind a tree, watching the scene. Through the window, she could see Emily sewing on an old machine. Robert arrived just then, covered in cement, but smiling when he saw the kids. "How was your day, champ?" Robert asked, ruffling Ethan's hair. "Good, Dad. I made $5 today. What about you?" "I got a job for next week. We're renovating a kitchen for a lady downtown, 2 weeks of guaranteed work." The family gathered for a simple dinner, but everyone seemed happy. Jennifer watched how Ethan naturally interacted with his siblings, how he helped serve the food, how he listened attentively as Robert talked about work. Over the following weeks, Jennifer devised a plan. She couldn't just show up in her son's life and turn everything upside down. He had a family who loved him, an established routine. But she also couldn't ignore the financial struggles they were facing. She looked into Robert and found he was known in the neighborhood as an honest, hard-working man. He had excellent references from past employers. Emily, meanwhile, had been a seamstress for over 20 years and had a loyal, if small, clientele. "Dr. William, I want you to contact Robert Miller," she said one Monday. "Tell him our company is hiring a construction supervisor to oversee renovations at our offices." "But Ms. Collins, we don't have any renovations scheduled." "We do now. I want you to draft a modernization plan for all the bathrooms in the building. It'll be a 3-month job, well paid." William hesitated for a moment. "Ma'am, may I ask why this particular interest in Mr. Miller?" Jennifer took a deep breath. "He was recommended by someone trustworthy. Just do what I'm asking." The next day, Robert received a call from William offering him the job. The pay was generous, much higher than what he usually got for odd jobs. "Emily, I think this is too good to be true," Robert told his wife that night after the kids went to bed. "But why do you say that? The company is big, they could hire any contractor. Why would they call me?" "Maybe it's your reputation, honey. Everyone in the neighborhood knows you're honest and meticulous." "I don't know. But we need the money. I'll accept it and hope for the best." Robert started working at Jennifer's company the following week. She made a point of walking through the floors under renovation to discreetly observe him. The man was indeed careful and skilled. He treated the workers with respect and kept everything organized. "How's the progress on the renovations?" she asked William 2 weeks later. "Excellent. Mr. Miller is very professional. He even mentioned his wife is looking for more sewing work. Seems she's quite talented." Jennifer's heart raced. It was the perfect opportunity to help Emily too. "What a coincidence. I've been thinking about changing the employees' uniforms. It'd be nice to hire someone who does personalized handmade work. Should I reach out to Mrs. Miller?" "Yes, but be discreet. I don't want it to seem like favoritism because of her husband." A few days later, Emily received a proposal to design uniforms for a company. The pay was very good, and the deadline was generous. "Robert, I think our luck has changed," she said, still in disbelief. "How so?" "A company wants me to make 50 uniforms, women's suits and men's shirts. The payment is enough to buy a new sewing machine and still have plenty left." "Which company?" "Funny enough, it's the same one you're working for. What a coincidence, right?" Robert grew thoughtful. The coincidences were piling up, but the opportunities were real and much needed. Meanwhile, Jennifer continued watching Ethan every afternoon. The boy kept his routine of sweeping the sidewalk, but now seemed livelier. He told the doorman about the new sneakers his mother had bought him and the new books he'd managed to get. "Mr. Frank, my mum got a really good job," Ethan said one afternoon. "Now I can buy those math books I wanted." "That's great, kid. You deserve it. You've always been dedicated to your studies. Do you think I could go to a better school someday?" "Of course. With your dedication, you can go as far as you want." Jennifer, listening from the building's entrance, felt a mix of pride and sadness. Her son had ambitions, dreams, but perhaps not the same opportunities she could provide. After nearly 2 months, Robert finished the renovations at the company. Jennifer made sure to be there the day he completed the work. "Mr. Miller, I'd like to thank you personally," she said, approaching him. Robert was surprised to see the businesswoman. "Ms. Collins, thank you for the opportunity. I hope the work met your expectations." "It was excellent. In fact, I'm considering more renovations in the building. I'd like to keep you on as our permanent foreman." "Really? That would be wonderful." "There's one condition, though." Robert tensed. "What is it?" "I'd like to meet your family. I always like to know who I'm doing business with." "Of course, no problem. We could arrange lunch this weekend if you'd like." Jennifer's heart pounded. She'd finally have the chance to officially meet the family raising her son. That Saturday, she headed to the house on Maple Street. She wore casual clothes, trying to appear less intimidating. When Robert opened the door, she could see Ethan playing with his siblings in the backyard. "Ms. Collins, welcome," said Emily, wiping her hands on her apron. "Sorry about the simplicity of our home." "No need to apologize. Your home is very welcoming." During lunch, Jennifer watched Ethan's every move. The boy was polite, helped serve the guests, and spoke confidently about his studies. "Ethan wants to be a businessman when he grows up," Emily commented proudly. "Really? And why is that?" Jennifer asked the boy directly. "Because I want to help people the way you helped my dad. Create job opportunities, you know. My teacher says a good businessman thinks about the community." Jennifer was moved by his mature answer. "It's a difficult but rewarding profession. It requires a lot of study." "I like studying. I read every book I can borrow from the library." "What kind of books?" "All kinds. History, math, even books about business. Some are hard, but I keep trying to understand." After lunch, Jennifer asked to see the backyard. Ethan went with her, showing her the small garden he tended. "I planted these vegetables to help with household expenses," he explained. "You're very responsible for your age. My mum always says everyone has to do their part for the family." "Ethan, can I ask you a personal question?" "Of course." "Do you know you're adopted?" The boy hesitated for a moment. "Yes. My parents told me when I was 6. They said my birth mother loved me very much, but couldn't raise me. So she chose a family who could give me love and education." Jennifer had to hold back tears. "How do you feel about that?" "At first, I was sad, wondering why she left me. But then I understood it was an act of love. She thought about what was best for me, not for her." "Would you ever want to meet her?" Ethan grew thoughtful. "Sometimes I'm curious, yes. But I'm also scared." "Scared of what?" "Of hurting my parents. They're my real parents, you know. They raised me, loved me, gave me everything they could. I don't want them to think I'm ungrateful." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, continuing. Jennifer spent the rest of the afternoon at the Millers' home, observing their family dynamic. Robert and Emily truly treated Ethan as their own, no different from the others. The children played together, fought like normal siblings, and protected each other. When it was time to leave, Emily walked her to the gate. "Ms. Collins, thank you for everything you've done for our family," she said sincerely. "You deserve it. Robert is an excellent professional, and you're a talented seamstress." "Can I be honest with you?" "Of course." At first, Robert thought all these coincidences were strange. First his job, then mine. It seemed too good to be true. Jennifer tensed. "And what did you conclude?" "That sometimes God puts angels in our lives when we need them most. You came at a difficult time and changed our reality. We don't know why you chose us, but we're grateful." Jennifer said goodbye with a lump in her throat. If only Emily knew the truth. In the following months, Jennifer established a routine of visiting the Miller family, always with the excuse of checking Robert's work or discussing new projects with Emily. But in truth, she wanted to be near Ethan, to watch him grow. The boy was getting taller and more mature. He remained dedicated to his studies and kept up his routine of helping with chores. Jennifer felt proud seeing how he interacted with his siblings and respected his parents. One day during a visit, Ethan mentioned he wanted to take a technical course in business administration, but the school offering it was private and expensive. It's a dream, Ms. Collins, but I understand the family can't afford it right now. Maybe when I'm old enough to work, I can save up. Jennifer couldn't sleep that night. Her son had potential, intelligence, and determination, but he might not get the opportunities he deserved. She had the means to change that, but how could she do it without raising suspicions? The following week, she set up an educational foundation under her company's name. The goal was to offer scholarships to underprivileged youth with good academic performance. Dr. William, I want you to promote this foundation in the public schools around here, she instructed. Excellent initiative, Ms. Collins. What will the selection criteria be? High grades, good behavior, and an essay on career aspirations. Oh, and I want Ethan Miller's school included on the list. Ethan's teacher, Mrs. Thompson, was thrilled when she heard about the scholarship. Ethan, you have to apply for this, she said after explaining the program. Mom, there must be a lot of people interested. I don't know if I have a chance. You do. Your grades are excellent. And your essay about becoming a businessman was the best in the class. I'll help you prepare the documents. Ethan came home excited about the possibility. Mom, Dad, there's a scholarship opportunity for a technical course, he shared during dinner. That's wonderful, son, said Emily. You deserve this chance. But what if I don't get it? There'll be a lot of competition. If you don't, you'll keep studying and preparing for other opportunities. Robert replied. What matters is always trying. Dad, can I ask you something? Of course. Do you think my birth mother would be proud of me if she knew how hard I'm working? Emily and Robert exchanged glances. Son, I'm sure she'd be very proud, Emily said, her voice trembling. Any mother would be proud of a son like you. Jennifer discreetly participated in the scholarship review panel using a fake name and a different appearance. When Ethan's turn came, her heart raced. The boy walked into the room confident yet respectful. He answered every question clearly and maturely. His essay on how to use education to transform communities impressed all the evaluators. Why did you choose this topic? One panel member asked. Because I grew up in a community where everyone helps each other. I saw how my dad lost his job, but the neighborhood rallied to support us. I saw how my mum used her sewing talent to provide for the family. I want to give back one day by creating opportunities for others. And how do you plan to do that? By studying hard, graduating, and then starting a business that creates jobs in my area. I don't just want to make money. I want my success to help other families thrive too. Jennifer had to hold back tears right then and there. Her son, at just 11 years old, already had a more developed social vision than many adults. Of course, Ethan was selected for the scholarship. When Robert got the call with the news, the whole family celebrated. Son, we're so proud of you, Robert said, hugging Ethan. Thanks, Dad. But I only got this because you gave me a foundation. You taught me values, supported my studies. Emily cried with emotion. You're going far, my son, I'm sure of it. Ethan started the technical course the following month. Jennifer made sure to discreetly follow his progress through reports she requested from the program coordinator. The boy excelled in every subject, especially business administration and entrepreneurship. She actively participated in classes and already showed strategic thinking in projects. During one of the visits to the Miller family, Jennifer noticed Ethan was quieter than usual. Did something happen, Ethan? She asked. It's nothing serious, Ms. Collins. It's just, in class, we had to make a family tree as an assignment. And I don't know anything about my biological family. Jennifer felt her heart tighten. And how did you handle it? I put my real family, he said, smiling. My parents, my siblings. But it left me curious, you know. What kind of curiosity? Sometimes I wonder what they'd be like if there's anything about me that comes from them. My height, my way of thinking, things like that. And would you like to meet them? Ethan hesitated. I think so. But on one condition. What? That they understand I already have a family. That they wouldn't come to take me back, but just to introduce themselves, so we could get to know each other without pressure. Jennifer fell silent, processing the boy's words. Ethan, what if I told you that might be possible? How so? There are ways to locate biological families when there's mutual interest. Of course, it would be a delicate process involving your whole family. Ethan seemed interested but cautious. My parents would have to agree. Of course, and you'd have to be sure it's what you want. Miss Collins, can I ask you a personal question? Go ahead. Do you have children? Jennifer felt a lump in her throat. No, I never had that opportunity. That's too bad. You'd be an amazing mother. You're kind, you care about people, you help those in need. Jennifer had to excuse herself and go to the bathroom so she wouldn't cry in front of Ethan. Her son had just said she'd be a good mother, not knowing she was in fact his mother. That night she couldn't sleep. The conversation with Ethan made her realize it might be time to consider revealing the truth. But how could she do it without destroying the family harmony he valued so much? She decided to seek professional help. She scheduled an appointment with a psychologist specializing in adoption and reunion processes. Dr. Rebecca, I need guidance on a delicate situation, she said during the first session. Tell me. Jennifer recounted the whole story, from the moment she gave Ethan up for adoption to recent events. It's a complex situation, the psychologist assessed. The boy shows emotional maturity, but he's still a child, and the adoptive family seems to have done an excellent job. I don't want to cause problems, I just want him to know I made the decision with his best interest in mind. And are you sure this need to reveal the truth is for him or for you? The question caught Jennifer off guard. What do you mean? Sometimes we biological parents feel the need for relief from guilt, for recognition of our choice. It's important to distinguish whether revealing the truth is truly beneficial for the child or if it's our own need. Jennifer grew thoughtful. I think it's a bit of both. Then let's work through your feelings first. After that, we'll consider the best way to approach the situation if necessary. Over the following weeks, Jennifer attended therapy twice a week. Little by little, she came to understand that her guilt and need for closeness with Ethan were clouding her judgment. He's doing well, Dr. Rebecca. He has a family that loves him. He's thriving in school. He has strong values. Maybe I shouldn't disrupt that harmony. And how do you feel about that? Sad, but also relieved. I made the right decision 8 years ago. He's proof of that. But do you still feel the need for him to know? I do. But maybe not now. Maybe when he's older, if he's still curious. Jennifer decided to keep helping the Miller family discreetly, without forcing closeness. I would keep Robert as an employee, continue buying uniforms from Emily, and monitor Ethan's progress from a distance. However, fate had other plans. One day, while Ethan was at technical school, the teacher proposed a special project. Class, you'll be doing internships at local companies. It's an opportunity to experience the job market firsthand, she announced. Ma'am, how will we get these positions? Asked a student. We've already contacted several companies. One of them was especially receptive and offered multiple spots. It's JC Enterprises. Ethan was surprised. He knew that company well. Ma'am, I know the owner of JC Enterprises. She's a family friend. What a wonderful coincidence. Then you'll likely get a spot. When Ethan got home, he told them about the internship. Dad, Mom, do you think Miss Collins would give me a chance to intern at her company? Of course, son, said Emily. She's always cared about you. But I want to earn it, not get it as a favor. And you will, Robert affirmed. You're talented and hardworking. The next day, Ethan called the company and asked to speak with Jennifer. Miss Collins, it's Ethan. How are you? Hi, Ethan. What a surprise. I'm well, and you? Good, too. Miss Collins, can I ask a favor? Of course. My school is setting up business administration internships. I heard your company is taking some students. I'd really like to participate. Jennifer was speechless for a moment. Ethan, Of course, I'll check the available positions. Thank you, but I want you to know that if I get it, I'll give my best. I don't want special treatment for knowing you. Don't worry, if you get the position, it'll be on merit. After hanging up, Jennifer felt nervous. Having Ethan work at her company would bring a closeness she wasn't prepared for. She called Dr. Rebecca. Doctor, something unexpected happened. Ethan wants to intern at my company. How do you feel about that? Confused. It's a chance to be closer to him, but also a risk of emotional exposure. Do you think you can maintain the necessary professionalism? I don't know. But I can't deny him the opportunity just because of my own conflicts. Then accept, but set clear boundaries for yourself. Ethan started the internship the following week. Jennifer assigned William to directly supervise the interns, trying to keep her distance. But it was impossible not to notice the boy. He was always punctual, dressed neatly, and showed genuine interest in learning. He asked smart questions and volunteered for any task. Dr. William, how are the interns performing? She asked after 2 weeks. Very good overall, but one stands out. Who? Ethan Miller. He's exceptionally dedicated and bright. He's grasped processes that took others weeks to understand. Jennifer felt proud but tried not to show it. Great. Keep monitoring everyone's work. One day, Ethan asked to discuss a project he was developing. Ms. Collins, can I show you an idea I had? Of course, come in. Ethan entered her office with an organized folder. I've been analyzing company data and noticed you work with many small local suppliers. I thought of a way to optimize that. He opened the folder to reveal hand-drawn charts and spreadsheets. If the company created a training program for these small suppliers, it could improve service quality while helping the local economy. Jennifer was impressed by the sophisticated analysis. Ethan, this is very good. How did you reach this conclusion? I've noticed that my father, when working with smaller suppliers, sometimes struggles with deadlines and quality, not because of incompetence, but due to a lack of management knowledge. If they knew how to organize their work better, everyone would benefit. And do you think your company could lead this effort? Of course. You have the knowledge, resources, and credibility. It would be an investment in the future of the region. Jennifer was moved. Her 12-year-old son was already thinking strategically and socially. Ethan, can I ask you a few questions about yourself? Sure. Have you always been interested in business? Since I was little. My parents always talked to me about work, responsibility, planning, and I saw how hard they worked to keep the family together even through tough times. Did your parents encourage you to take this internship? They did, but they also warned me to take it seriously. They said opportunities like this don't come often, so I should make the most of it. And how do you plan to repay everything they've done for you? Ethan grew thoughtful. By studying hard, graduating, and building a solid career. But not just for myself, I want them to feel proud of having invested in me. And one day I want to take care of them the way they took care of me. Jennifer had to hold back tears. Ethan, can I ask you about your birth mother? The boy hesitated. What do you want to know? Do you still wonder about her? I do. Especially now that I understand more about the business world, I keep imagining whether she achieved her dreams. How so? Well, if she gave me up for adoption, she was probably in a tough situation, right? Maybe she wanted to study, work, build a better life. I wonder if she managed to. And if she did, how would you feel? I'd be happy for her, and grateful, because it would mean she really made that decision with my best interest at heart. Jennifer could no longer hold back. Tears began to fall. Miss Collins, are you okay? I am, Ethan. It's just, your maturity moves me. You're a very special boy. Thank you. You're special too. Ever since you came into our lives, so many things have gotten better. It's like you're part of the family. That night, Jennifer made a decision. She called Dr. Rebecca. Doctor, I need to tell him the truth. Are you sure? I am. He's mature enough to handle it, and I can't keep living this lie. But I want to do it the right way. Then let's plan how to approach this. In the following sessions, they carefully worked out a plan. First, Jennifer would talk to Robert and Emily. Then, if they agreed, there would be a family conversation. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps those of us just starting out. Now, back to the story. That weekend, Jennifer asked to visit the Miller family. "Robert, Emily, I need to talk to you about something very important," she said once the children had gone out to play. "Of course, Miss Collins. Did something happen?" Emily asked, worried. Jennifer took a deep breath. "What I'm about to tell you could change everything between us, but I can't keep it to myself any longer." Robert and Emily exchanged tense glances. 12 years ago, I was a 19-year-old girl, poor, alone, trying to study business while working as a cleaner. I got pregnant and couldn't raise a child. Emily began to turn pale. "I made the hardest decision of my life. I gave my baby up for adoption when he was 3, after struggling to care for him alone. I chose a family who could give him what I couldn't: stability, love, and education." Robert stood up from his chair. "Miss Collins, are you saying that I'm Ethan's birth mother?" Emily burst into tears. "I knew it. I knew there was something different. The coincidences, the special interest in him, the physical resemblance." "You don't understand," Jennifer said quickly. "I didn't come here to take Ethan away. You're his parents. You raised him, educated him, made him the wonderful boy he is." "Then why are you telling us this now?" asked Robert, visibly shaken. "Because I can't pretend anymore. Because he's curious about me and has the right to know the truth. And because you deserve to know who's really in your lives." Emily stopped crying and looked directly at Jennifer. "You've been watching us for months, helped us financially, all because of Ethan?" "Yes. When I saw him sweeping the sidewalk, my world collapsed. I realized you were struggling, and I couldn't stay indifferent." "And now? What do you want?" "I want you to decide if it's right to tell him the truth. If you think it's not, I'll walk away and you'll never see me again. But if you believe he has the right to know, I'd like to be part of his life as a family friend." Robert was silent for a few minutes. "Miss Collins, can I ask you something?" "Of course. Do you regret giving Ethan up for adoption?" Jennifer thought carefully before answering. "I regret not being able to raise him, but I don't regret the decision. Look at the man he's becoming because of you. I could never have done that alone at 19. Emily stepped closer to Jennifer. "Can I hug you?" Jennifer was surprised but accepted the embrace. "You did the right thing," Emily whispered. "And you kept doing the right thing all these months. You didn't interfere with how we raised him. You respected our space, but you didn't abandon your son either." "Emily, I'm a mother, Jennifer. I understand what you went through. And I understand what you're going through now." Robert moved closer to them. "Jennifer, I'll be honest, I'm scared of losing my son." "Robert, you'll never lose Ethan. He loves you. You're his family. I'm just the person who brought him into the world and had the wisdom to place him in the right hands. But what if he wants to live with you? You're in a better position." "He won't. And even if he did, I wouldn't allow it. His place is here, with you." Emily wiped her tears. "Then we'll tell him, but all together, as a family." They decided to wait until the following weekend to have the conversation. During the week, Jennifer could barely focus at work. Ethan continued his internship as usual, suspecting nothing. "Dr. William, how is Ethan doing at the internship?" she asked. "Better than ever. In fact, he proposed a very interesting idea to improve support for small suppliers." "Really?" "Yes. He suggested creating a business mentoring program. It's brilliant and socially responsible." Jennifer smiled. Even without knowing the truth, Ethan was becoming exactly the kind of person she had dreamed he would be. On Saturday, the entire Miller family gathered in the living room. Jennifer arrived nervously, carrying a small box. "Kids, sit here," Emily said. "We have something important to tell you." Olivia, Sophia, Jacob, Nathan, and Ethan settled on the couch, curious. "You know Ethan was adopted, right?" Robert began. "We know, Dad," Olivia said. "So?" "His birth mother has come forward." The children fell silent, processing the information. "Where is she?" Ethan asked, trying to stay calm. Emily looked at Jennifer. She's here. Ethan followed his mother's gaze and met Jennifer's eyes. For a moment that felt like forever, they stared at each other in silence. "Ms. Collins," he whispered. "Hi, Ethan." The boy was stunned. "But how? Why?" "Ethan, do you want to hear the whole story?" Jennifer asked gently. He nodded, unable to speak. Jennifer told the whole story from her pregnancy at 19 to the moment she saw him sweeping the sidewalk. She spoke about the hardships she faced, the decision to give him up for adoption, and how she discreetly followed his life. "Have you been watching me all these months?" Ethan asked. "Watching and feeling proud. You became exactly the kind of person I dreamed you'd be." "Then why didn't you tell me sooner?" "Because I was afraid of ruining your happiness. You have a wonderful family, Ethan. I didn't want to interfere." Ethan stayed silent for a few minutes. His siblings also remained quiet, respecting the moment. "Can I see something you kept of me?" he finally asked. Jennifer opened the box she had brought. Inside was the hospital bracelet from his birth, a few photos from his early years, and a sealed letter. "I wrote this letter to you when you were 3. It explains why I made the decision to give you up for adoption." Ethan took the letter with trembling hands and opened it. He read silently while everyone waited. When he finished, he was crying. "Mom," he said, looking at Emily, "can you read it for everyone?" Emily took the letter and began. "My dear Ethan, if you're reading this letter, it means you've grown up and can understand my reasons. I love you more than anything in this world, but I can't give you what you deserve. I work overnight, study during the day, and barely have time to sleep. You deserve a family who can give you attention, love, education, and stability. I chose your new parents very carefully. They'll love you as I do, but they'll be present in ways I couldn't. One day, when I've built a better life, I hope to find you and explain everything in person. Until then, be happy, study hard, and grow into a good man. Your mother who loves you forever, Jennifer." When Emily finished reading, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. Ethan stood slowly and walked to Jennifer. "Thank you," he said, hugging her. "For what? For giving me the best family in the world, for putting my well-being before yours, for coming back into my life when I was ready to understand." Jennifer cried as she hadn't in years. "Ethan, you don't hate me? How could I hate you? You did everything out of love. And look," he gestured to his family, "look at the wonderful family I have because of your decision." Olivia, who had been quiet until then, stepped forward. "Ms. Collins, will you be part of our family now? If you'll have me, I'd love to be part of your lives." "Of course we will," Sophia said. "You've always looked out for us." Robert, who had remained uneasy, finally relaxed. "Jennifer, thank you for trusting us 12 years ago, and thank you for respecting our family all these months. Thank you for raising my son with so much love." Emily suggested they prepare a special lunch to celebrate the families coming together. While the women cooked, Robert and Jennifer talked in the backyard. "Jennifer, how do we move forward from here? Whatever you think is best. I don't want to disrupt his routine. I just want to be part of his life as a family friend like a mom. And financially, I'll keep helping discreetly if you'll let me. Not as charity, but as family. I want to contribute to the children's education and your stability. That'll be hard for my pride to accept. Robert, you raised my son. You gave me the greatest gift anyone could. Let me repay you by caring for your family too." At lunch, Ethan was visibly emotional but happy. "Ms. Jennifer," he said, still adjusting to the new situation. "Can I still call you Ms. Collins?" "Call me whatever feels comfortable. I prefer Ms. Collins. My mom is her..." He pointed to Emily. "But you're special too. And how do you feel about all this?" "Confused, but happy. It's weird finding out someone who's been in my life for so long is my birth mother, but it's also cool because it means you never really abandoned me. Never. I was always looking after you from a distance. And now you can do it up close too." In the weeks that followed, The family dynamic adjusted naturally to the new reality. Jennifer began visiting the Millers regularly, always respecting Robert and Emily's space and decisions. Ethan continued his internship at her company, but now with a different understanding of the situation. He knew he was there on merit, but he also knew he had Jennifer's unconditional support. "Ms. Collins, can I ask you something?" he said one afternoon after work. "Of course. I want you to tell me about when I was little, about the 3 years I spent with you." Jennifer was moved. "Are you sure they were tough times?" "I'm sure. I want to know my whole story." They sat in her office and Jennifer began to share. She talked about the pregnancy, the birth, the financial struggles, but also the moments of joy. "You were such a calm baby. You hardly ever cried. And when you started walking, you wanted to explore everything. I was always chasing you around the tiny apartment we lived in." "Did you work a lot?" "Constantly. Overnight at a cleaning company, mornings taking care of you, afternoons at college, and when you slept, I studied more." "That must have been exhausting." "It was, but when you smiled at me, I forgot all the tiredness." "And when did you decide to put me up for adoption?" Jennifer sighed. "When you turned 3 and started asking questions I couldn't answer. Why don't we have a yard like other houses? Why are you always tired? Why can't I have new toys? I realized you deserved better answers than I could give at the time. Do you think you made the right choice?" "Looking at you now, I'm absolutely sure I did. You've become an incredible young man, Ethan. With values, education, a loving family, I could never have given you all that. But you managed to build your life afterward." "I did. I studied hard, worked hard, built the company, but it took years. If I'd tried to do it with you as a child, I probably wouldn't have succeeded at either." Ethan grew thoughtful. "Ms. Collins, can I tell you something?" "Of course. I admire you, not just for building this company, but for having the courage to make such a hard decision for my sake. Ethan, and I admire my parents too, for taking me in and loving me as their own. I'm really lucky to have 2 families who love me." "You're right. You are very lucky. And you know what else?" "What?" "Now I understand where my drive to be an entrepreneur comes from. It's genetic," he laughed. Jennifer laughed too. "Maybe it is." From that day on, they established a routine of talking about business and life. Jennifer became a natural mentor to Ethan, teaching him not just about management, but about social responsibility and business values. 6 months after the revelation, Ethan finished his internship with a brilliant presentation on the small suppliers mentoring program he had designed. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said to the review board, "this project isn't just about business efficiency. It's about recognizing that a thriving company has a responsibility to its community." Jennifer sat in the audience beside Robert and Emily, all of them proud. The proposal is to create a virtuous cycle where the company invests in training local suppliers, generating better services, more jobs, and regional development. At the end of the presentation, Ethan received a standing ovation. "Ethan," said the course coordinator, "this is one of the best presentations we've ever seen. You have a bright future ahead of you." "Thank you, but I want to make it clear that I got here thanks to the support of 2 wonderful families." He looked at the audience. "My parents, Robert and Emily, who taught me values and gave me all the love in the world. And Jennifer, who had the courage to make tough decisions and now guides me in the business world." There wasn't a dry eye in the room. After graduation, Jennifer made Ethan an offer. "I have an idea for you." "What is it?" "How about we actually implement your mentoring program project?" "Seriously?" "Seriously. You'd be the program coordinator, with my supervision, of course, until you gain experience." "But I'm only 12. So what? Great entrepreneurs start young. Besides, it would be a pilot program. If it works, we'll expand." Ethan was thrilled. "Can I talk to my parents before accepting?" "Of course. They should always be consulted for important decisions in your life." That evening at the Miller's house, there was a family meeting. "Son, are you sure you want this responsibility?" Robert asked. "I am, Dad. It's a chance to put everything I've learned into practice, and Jennifer will guide me." "What about your studies?" "I'll keep studying as usual. The program would be in my free time." Emily was concerned. Ethan, you already help a lot at home. You're still studying, and now you'll work too. Won't it be too much? Mom, this isn't work. It's a dream coming true. Robert and Emily exchanged glances. All right, but on one condition, Robert said. What? If at any point it affects your studies or your health, you stop immediately. Deal. The following month, Ethan officially began as the junior coordinator of JC Enterprises' Small Suppliers Mentoring Program. His first challenge was convincing suppliers to participate. Mr. Frank, he said to the first supplier he visited, you have nothing to lose. It's a free business management course. Kid, I don't have time to study, I need to work. I completely understand. My dad went through the same thing. But imagine if you could organize your work better and earn more money in the same amount of time. How so? For example, if you learn to make more accurate estimates, you can charge the right price for your services. If you learn to manage your time better, you can take on more jobs without overworking. The man became interested. And who's teaching these courses? JC Enterprises professionals volunteering their time, and I'll always be there to help however I can. You? But you're just a kid. I am. But I'm also a worker's son. I know this reality, and I'm learning business administration. I can be a bridge between you and the instructors. By the end of 3 months, the program had 50 participants. Jennifer closely monitored Ethan's growth as coordinator. How are you feeling? She asked one afternoon. Challenged but happy. It's amazing to see how knowledge can change people's lives. Are you handling the resistance from some suppliers well? I'm learning. At first I thought everyone would accept right away, but I realized change scares some people. And how do you work around that? I talk a lot. I explain that we're not trying to change who they are, but to give them tools to be even better at what they already do. Very smart. You're developing quickly. Well, I have great teachers, he said, smiling. Teachers? You, my mom, Emily, and life itself. Each teaches me different things, but all of them important. By the end of the program's first year, the results exceeded expectations. The participating suppliers saw an average income increase of 30%, and the quality of services provided to JC Enterprises improved significantly. Ethan, you've created something revolutionary, said Jennifer during the annual review meeting. We created, he corrected. It was a team effort. Still, the original idea was yours, but it only worked because I had everyone's support. Jennifer looked at the boy, now 13 years old. He had grown physically, but also in maturity and confidence. Ethan, can I ask you a personal question? Of course. How do you feel about me now? It's been over a year since you learned the truth. Ethan thought for a moment. I feel complete. For a long time there was an emptiness, a curiosity about where I came from. Now I know my full story. And you don't feel anger or resentment? None. I feel grateful. You gave me life, placed me in an amazing family, and now you're teaching me to be a responsible entrepreneur. How could I feel anger? And what about your parents? Has nothing changed? It's only strengthened my love for them. Now I understand even more what they did for me. They took me in when I needed it, loved me unconditionally, raised me. They're my real parents. And you're my biological mother, my mentor, my business partner, and part of my extended family. That's a lot of good in one person. Jennifer smiled, moved. Thank you, Ethan, for forgiving me, for accepting me, for letting me be part of your life. Actually, I'm the one who should be thanking you for everything. 2 years passed. Ethan, now 15, was finishing high school with excellent grades. The mentoring program had expanded to other businesses in the area, and he had become a young reference in social entrepreneurship. Jennifer, I need to make a decision about college, he said one afternoon. Tell me. I've been offered full scholarships at 3 universities, 2 in New York City and 1 here in town. And which do you prefer? The one in New York has the best business program in the country. It would be an incredible opportunity. But it would mean being far from my family and from the program we built together. Ethan, you can't pass up the best opportunity because of us. It's not passing up. It's choosing wisely. How so? The university here is good too, and by staying I can keep developing the program, take care of my parents as they age, and build my career in the place where I was born. Are you sure about this? I am. My goal was never to be the most famous entrepreneur in the country. It's to be useful to my community and happy with my family. Jennifer felt proud of his maturity. Then I support your decision, and I promise we'll make the program even bigger and better. Deal. On the day of his high school graduation, Ethan was chosen as the class speaker. His speech moved the entire audience. Classmates, we've reached the end of one chapter, but the beginning of many more. Over these years, I've learned that success isn't just measured by individual achievements, but by the positive impact we have on others' lives. In the audience, his family, Robert, Emily, his siblings, and Jennifer, watched with pride. Each of us has had people who believed in our potential. Teachers, parents, friends, mentors. My message to you today is, don't forget to give back. Use your talents not just to grow, but to help others grow too. When he finished, he received a long ovation. After the ceremony, there was a celebration at the miller's home. Jennifer had prepared a special surprise. "Ethan, I have a gift for you," she said. "Jennifer, you didn't have to." "Oh, but I did." She handed him a sealed envelope. "What is it?" "Open it and see." Ethan opened the envelope and found official documents. "Are you giving me shares in the company?" "I'm making you a minority partner at JC Enterprises. It's your recognition for the work with the mentoring program." Ethan was speechless. "But Jennifer..." "No buts. You deserve it. You turned an idea into reality, helped dozens of families, and showed that age isn't a limitation to making a difference." Robert approached. "Jennifer, that's very generous." "Robert, it's not generosity. It's fairness. Ethan worked for this." Emily was crying with emotion. "Our son is officially a businessman now." "Not at all," said Ethan, hugging everyone. "I'm still your son, just with more responsibilities." The party went on late into the night with plenty of food, music, and shared stories. It was a celebration not just of Ethan's graduation, but of the union of two families that had become one. A few months later, Ethan started business school at the local university. He balanced his studies with work at the mentoring program, which now served over 200 families. "Ethan, don't you think you're overdoing it?" Emily asked one night, watching him study late. "No, Mom. I'm doing what I love." "But you're still so young. You should enjoy your youth more." "Mom, for me, enjoying my youth is exactly this: building something meaningful, learning, growing, helping others." Robert, listening from the kitchen, joined them. "Your son's right, Emily. Some people are born for this." "Dad, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Do you regret anything in life?" Robert thought for a moment. "I regret not studying more when I was young. Maybe I could have provided more financial stability for the family." "But Dad, if you'd made different choices, maybe you wouldn't have adopted me. Then I wouldn't be here and our family would be different." "That's true. So every experience, good or bad, brought us to where we are today. And I really like where we are." Emily got emotional. "How did you get so wise, young man?" "I learned from the best teachers, you." That night, after everyone had gone to bed, Ethan stayed in the backyard, looking at the stars. Jennifer had called earlier to check on how he was adjusting to college. He thought about his whole journey. The first 3 years with Jennifer, being adopted by the Millers, the revelation of the truth, and the building of an expanded family. Every moment had shaped him. At 17, he was already a business partner, coordinator of a successful social program, a college student, and most importantly, a beloved son to 2 families. But what made him proudest wasn't the material achievements. It was knowing that his story, with all its challenges and fresh starts, was inspiring others. Many families in the mentoring program said his story motivated them to fight for better lives. "Ethan," Emily said, appearing in the backyard, "aren't you coming to bed?" "I will, Mom. I was just thinking." "About what?" "How lucky I am. Not everyone gets to know both their families and be loved by them. You're right, it's a special situation. Mom, can I tell you something I've never said before? Of course, son. Even after finding out about Jennifer, you and Dad never stopped being my real parents in my heart. That hasn't changed one bit. Emily hugged him tightly. And you'll always be our real son too. That will never change. I love you. We love you too. Now come to bed. You have an early class tomorrow. Ethan smiled and followed his mother inside. Another day ended in a family that, though it had begun unconventionally, had become the perfect example that love isn't about blood. It's about dedication, care, and being there. In his room before bed, he opened the notebook where he wrote down his thoughts and penned, "Today I understood there are no perfect families, but there are true families. Mine is true because it was built with love, hard decisions made for everyone's good, forgiveness, understanding, and a lot of work. Jennifer gave me life and the chance to have the best parents in the world. Robert and Emily gave me love, education, and values. My siblings gave me the joy of being part of something bigger than myself. I'm grateful to everyone and hope to repay them by always being worthy of the love I receive." He closed the notebook, turned off the light, and fell asleep peacefully, knowing the next day would bring more opportunities to learn, grow, and make a difference in people's lives. 3 years flew by. Ethan, now 20, was graduating with a degree in business administration as one of the top students in his class. The mentoring program had become a national model, and he received invitations to speak in other cities. "Ethan, an interesting proposal came in," said Ms. Collins during a meeting. "What is it?" "The federal government wants to implement our mentoring program model nationwide. You'd be the lead consultant." "Really? Really? It'd be a chance to impact thousands of families across the country." Ethan grew thoughtful. "That's a huge responsibility." "You're ready. You have the experience, knowledge, and most importantly, the sensitivity to work with people." "I need to talk to my family before deciding." "Of course, but Ethan, I want you to know how proud I am of you. From the boy I met sweeping sidewalks to the young entrepreneur you've become." "Thank you, Jennifer, for everything. For giving me life, for placing me with the right family, for coming back at the right time, and for teaching me that successful businesses are those that benefit the whole community." That evening, at the Miller's home, a long family conversation took place. "Son, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity," said Robert, "but it means traveling a lot, being away from you all." "Ethan," Emily said, "we raised you to fly. If it's time to soar higher, then soar." "But what about you and our projects here?" "We'll always be here when you need us, and the local projects can continue under others' coordination. You've built a great team." Olivia, now 25 with a degree in education, spoke up. "Ethan, you inspired me to work in education. Let me repay you by taking on some of the local projects." "You do that?" "Of course. I grew up watching your work. I learned so much just by observing you." Sophia, who'd studied psychology, also volunteered. "And I can handle the psychological support for participating families." Jacob and Nathan, now 18 and studying engineering, added, "And we can help with the technical side of the projects." Ethan looked at his family and smiled. "You've turned our family project into a family business." "Exactly," said Robert. "You inspired all of us." "Then it's decided. I'll accept the national proposal but keep my base here. I want our region to remain a model." Months later, Ethan was in Washington, D.C. presenting the National Small Business Mentoring Program. "Honorable members of Congress," he said, before an audience of politicians and business leaders, "this program isn't just about economics. It's about dignity, opportunity, and social transformation." In the audience, Jennifer watched with pride. Robert and Emily had traveled specially to witness the moment. When a family learns to better manage their small business, they aren't just increasing their income. They're teaching their children that education and teamwork can change realities. By the end of the presentation, the program was approved unanimously. "Ethan Miller," said the minister after the vote, "you are proof that age is no limitation for great achievements. Congratulations." "Thank you, Minister. But I want to make it clear that I got here thanks to the support of two exceptional families. He pointed to the audience. Jennifer Collins, who had the courage to make difficult decisions with my best interests at heart, and Robert and Emily Miller, who welcomed me and gave me all the love and education I have. There wasn't a dry eye in the room. After the ceremony, the two families celebrated together at a restaurant in Washington, D.C. "Ethan," said Robert, "when you were little and said you wanted to be an entrepreneur, I thought it was just a child's dream." "And it was, Dad. But you taught me that dreams can come true with hard work and persistence. And now you're going to impact the entire country," said Emily, emotional. "We're going to impact it," Ethan corrected, "because everything I know, I learned from you, and because I'll need everyone's help to make this work." Jennifer raised a toast. "To a family that proves true love overcomes any circumstance. To a family that taught me family isn't who you're born to, but who chooses to stand by you," Ethan added. Everyone toasted, celebrating not just professional success, but the victory of love over adversity. On the flight back home, Ethan wrote in his journal, "Today I understood that my story isn't about abandonment and reunion. It's about love multiplied. Jennifer loved me enough to give me a better family. Robert and Emily loved me enough to make me their son. My siblings loved me enough to accept me as their true brother. And today, all together, we love each other enough to build something greater than ourselves." The national program is just the beginning. We want to prove that when families unite with a common purpose, they can change not just their own realities, but the reality of an entire country. A year later, the national program's results surpassed all expectations. Over 10,000 families had been helped, with an average income increase of 40% and significant improvements in quality of life. Ethan, now 21, was being nationally recognized as one of the country's most important young social entrepreneurs. "Ethan," said Jennifer during one of her visits to the Miller family, "have you ever thought about writing a book about your story?" "Why?" "To inspire others. Your journey shows that it's possible to overcome any adversity with love, hard work, and family." "I don't know if my story is that interesting." "It is," said Emily. "How many people go through similar situations? Mothers who have to give up their children, families who adopt, kids who grow up without knowing their origins." Robert added, "Your story shows it's possible to bring all of that together harmoniously and turn it into something positive. Do you really think I should write it?" "We do," said Olivia. "And look, I can help with the educational side to make it accessible for different audiences. And I can handle the psychological aspects," offered Sophia, "to approach the emotional side sensitively." Ethan smiled. "Another family project?" "Why not?" said Jacob. "Nathan and I can take care of the digital promotion." "All right," Ethan agreed. "But on one condition, any income from the book goes entirely toward expanding our social programs." "Of course," said Emily. "We wouldn't expect anything less from you." The book Multiplied Family, a story of love, choices, and transformation, was released the following year and became a national bestseller. Ethan's story inspired thousands of families in similar situations. During the launch at a packed bookstore, Ethan gave an emotional speech. "This book isn't my story, it's our story." To all the families formed in unconventional ways, but with genuine love. To all the mothers who make difficult decisions with their children's best interests at heart. To all the fathers who open their hearts to love children they didn't father. And to all the children who learn that true family is the one that loves us unconditionally. In the front row, Jennifer, Robert, Emily, and all the siblings watched with tears in their eyes. I want to dedicate this book to Jennifer Collins, who taught me that to love sometimes means letting go. To Robert and Emily Miller, who taught me that to love always means welcoming. And to my siblings, Olivia, Sophia, Jacob, and Nathan, who taught me that shared love multiplies infinitely. The audience rose in an ovation that lasted several minutes. After the launch, the whole family went out to dinner to celebrate. "Ethan," Jennifer said, "I want to ask you something I never have." "What? Are you happy? Truly happy?" Ethan looked around the table, seeing all the people he loved gathered together, and smiled. I am, Jennifer, deeply happy. Not because my life has been easy, but because it's been filled with real love from extraordinary people. And you don't feel like you've lost anything by being adopted? No, I feel like I've gained. I've gained 2 families, 2 perspectives on life, 2 kinds of love. Many people live their whole lives with just 1 family. I was lucky enough to have 2, and on top of that, they get along with each other. Robert was moved. Son, thank you for making our family more complete. Dad, thank you for taking me in when I needed a father. Emily was crying. Ethan, you turned our house into an even more special home. Mum, you turned my life into a real-life fairy tale. Jennifer, also emotional, added, and thank you for forgiving me and letting me be part of your life again. Jennifer, there's no forgiveness where there was no mistake. You did what you had to do, and you did it right. That night, walking through the city after dinner, the 2 families moved together down the streets. Ethan in the middle, arm in arm with Emily and Jennifer. Robert on the other side of Emily, with the other children around them. You know what's the funniest thing about all this? Ethan said. What? They all asked. I started out sweeping sidewalks to help my family. Today I'm sweeping away obstacles to help families across the country. Deep down, I'm still doing the same job, just on a bigger scale. Everyone laughed. And do you know what my next dream is? He continued. What? Olivia asked. To create an international foundation supporting adoptive families and mothers in vulnerable situations. I want our story to inspire people all over the world. Another family project, Sophia teased. Of course. Can you imagine how amazing it would be to have foundation offices in different countries, all run by members of our family? Ethan Miller, Robert said, laughing. You never stop dreaming, do you? Never, Dad. You taught me that dreaming is the first step to making anything happen. And we'll always be here to help those dreams come true, Emily said. Always, Jennifer confirmed. They kept walking through the city, a family united by bonds stronger than blood. Love, respect, understanding, and shared purpose. Ethan looked up at the starry sky and smiled. His life had begun with a difficult decision made out of love, continued with an adoption born from love, grown through a revelation rooted in love, and now it moved forward with projects inspired by love. He didn't know exactly what the future held, but he was absolutely certain that with his family by his side, any challenge could be overcome and any dream could come true. Because he had learned life's most important lesson, true family isn't determined by genetics, paperwork, or circumstances. It is built day after day through conscious choices to love, support, forgive, and grow together. And this was a lesson he intended to teach the whole world through his work, his speeches, his books, and most of all, through the example of his own life. The story of the boy who was found sweeping streets and became a successful social entrepreneur was only just beginning. Because the best stories don't have a defined ending, they live on through the lives they touch and transform. End of story. Now tell us what you thought of this touching story. Did you relate to any of the characters? Do you think Ms. Collins made the right decision by placing Ethan for adoption? And weren't Robert and Emily exemplary parents? Share your honest thoughts in the comments. We love hearing what you think. And if this story touched your heart, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other inspiring stories like this one.